Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. DJ Hamp Stampede, we in the building. You know, when I came across this clip, I started thinking of Numbers 8, verse 23 through 25. What it basically says is this: when the Levites are blessed with being the priests of the Israelites, right? And from 25 and up to 50, they preside over the congregation. So they do the actual preaching and teaching and discernment of the Bible or the book of the law at that time. Once they hit 50, though, they no longer preside, preach, or teach the congregation as a whole. Often what happens is people become slightly irrelevant, right? Their time has passed. They no longer resonate the same way in which they need to be successful in the job of teaching and showing them the way of the scriptures and the book of the law. Now, those men that turned 50 and up weren't just done away with. They presided in the temple with the brothers, continuing to build and coach the younger brothers, but in a way in which it was the ones that needed advice and wisdom and understanding. They weren't lording over anybody. They weren't giving advice when not asked, right? So it has structure to it. When I came across this clip, it says "Listen to Black Women" by Madame Noir. Shout out to them. They grinding, they definitely made investments in their set and things of that nature. But when I'm hearing these women talk and the advice that they're giving, it's jaded. It's coming from a place of I wasn't successful, so therefore I'm going to advise you to do things that knowing good and goddamn well I wouldn't have done if it would have worked out in my favor. So let's take a look at this clip. Let me see what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Let's take a look.
Hearing y'all talk about everything and like how y'all feel about your futures, and it kind of makes me feel a little left out because I feel sometimes confused about what I want. I do know that I do not want to have kids unless I'm married. But when I sit and think about it, am I ready? Because I've been in a position where I almost got to the point where I'm talking about baby, and then I really think about it like, I don't know if I could be with this mother for 65 more. I got to see his ass every day, 65 years.
And also, like, getting into the...
That's actually a fair critique. She's saying, yo, I'm only having kids. I'm older, obviously, but I'm only having kids when and if I get married. That's the right take. But then she's having doubts because she's like, can I be with one person for 60 years? But that's the world in her head. That's never been an issue until the last 30 years. Now it's a problem when women say, damn, I got to be with this one guy. Because they assume the perception is that they have so many options, they can do it by themselves. This is where we run into issues.
Involved in the entertainment industry really early on, everybody has Peter Pan syndrome. So it's just like, how do you
even choose?
Yeah.
But I feel like, can I offer for you, I think the modern woman gets to choose. Mm-hmm. Like, I think our mothers and...
Somebody look at this. Somebody come look at this, right? Of course, well, let's see.
Grandmothers and them probably felt like they didn't necessarily get that choice and they went the way of marriage and all the things because that's what it had to be. But because we are so non-traditional as women, we don't have to make that choice. It's not dire anymore. Sure, our uteruses have timelines, but even that there's a breath of fresh air in that, in the ability to freeze eggs and the ability to adopt or to create families in ways that are different and non-traditional.
I always felt like
Look at the advice. It's almost like being non-traditional is praised and being traditional is demonized because it's alleged that those women didn't have options. The quickest way, the best way, the key way to confirm and protect and transfer wealth is still marriage. So why give this advice? What options are there? When you think about it, look at the totem pole in terms of earnings per year. For the first time ever, Latino men out-earned Black women. Black men are 1 or 2 rungs from the bottom. inflation, the cost of everything is so much more. What in God's name make people think that they can make it out here by themselves? You gonna freeze eggs at what? $30,000 an egg? Newsflash. The most married people are also the people that have the highest earnings. So the Asian man, the East Indian man, they are the most married and also are maintaining the most wealth and have the highest earnings. That's still true. So why would we teach anything else?
If it's not meant for me, God is not gonna let it happen.
Recently, my aunt would, because I'm like the last cousin with no kids.
Me
Leave God out of this, right? He said, adorn yourself in modest apparel. Leave God out of it. Stop reaching out to God when you want something. Nobody never saying anything to my man when they don't need anything. Through happy times, we only think of him when we in need, so-called need. Leave him out of it. Don't call him. He ain't coming. There's a whole lot of shit we need to fix before we call God talking about how and when I should have a baby.
too.
Yeah, and they're all like, where is that? Where are your children? My aunt was like, Jessica, you can have your kids by yourself. You don't need no man. Who my best west side? Just have your kids by yourself.
They done gave up.
You know, yeah, they gave up. They're like, girl, where the kids at? You know, and I'm not gonna let me not finding Prince Charming or me not getting married stop me. Like, I'm going to have kids. Like, I'm going to have children. I don't care if I gotta go down to the clinic and say, I want that one, that one, that one. I'm going to have my children.
Here's
That's
the
not
thing
the end of
with
the
that, too.
road.
Sometimes, because I was
Cool. If you want to adopt the kids, adopt them, right? But I think we have to be responsible. We may feel a particular way. There's a lot of things that I don't like doing, but I do it based on my prescriptions. And I think that what they have to be careful of is the projection. You leveraging what you feel, where you are, and then you giving advice. And you say, I'm going to do this, but people are listening, right? And we have to be very careful with what it is that we put out here in the earth. Because we are doing bad and we're also the least married and the least together. There has to be a correlation.
married. I'm divorced. I ended up raising my kids by myself anyway. So you never know how it's going to play out. So
Marriage isn't a guarantee.
that's not a guarantee.
Well, see,
That's stupid. And she a liar, right? Raise your kids by yourself. Let's keep listening.
that's something I knew, but that's why I made it clear. That would be an example, like for me, that I would want to set. Like, look, we tried. We was married when we had you. It ain't work, and now his ass is out. I'm saying it based off of experience because my sisters had kids. One of them was married with one of the children, wasn't married with the other. But I saw their struggle, and I do know that the one that was married, he's still around and still prevalent in his child's life.
As a child that came from a marriage, I mean, both of my parents met in church. My father was preaching, my mom was a choir director. Like, she did it the right way. And 2 years ago, I was dating someone. Like, I really thought this man was gonna be my husband. Like, it was just in a short amount of time, he really love bombed me when I look back at it. But I remember calling my mom and crying to my mom. I was like, Mom, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get married. My mom said, take your time. Like, yes, I was married and I did everything right, but she said, I gave you the wrong father.
This is somebody's mom telling the daughter what she just said. Let me rewind it so y'all hear it.
Mom, it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna get married. My mom said, take your time. Like, yes, I was married and I did everything right, but she said, I gave you the wrong father. I did it the right way, but I gave you the wrong father.
Imagine telling a kid this.
For me, that really stuck with me because I had never heard anybody say that to their kid. I would never just wanna just give my children the wrong father for the sake of saying, well, we were married first. I would prefer to be married, but.
Think about that, right? That's all the fake ass affirmation she needed. Not even affirmation, wrong word, confirmation. So she having problems in a relationship. There's culpability on both sides all the time. Her mom said, don't worry about it. Let me project my experience. I gave you the wrong father. How dare you? Look at this woman. She's super attractive. She seemed well put together. She seemed educated. She seemed like she had a good upbringing, but I gave her the wrong father. Why? And that be the problem. Like the devaluing, undervaluing for no reason. That's unwarranted to tell a kid.
More than anything, I would prefer for my children to have a healthy upbringing, even if it's just me.
Modern day woman has so many more options open to her without society's judgment or expectation.
Now, mind you, they all my age and above. I'm 39. I guarantee, that's Melissa Ford right there. How old is Melissa Ford? Somebody put it in the comments. What options, right? Because you're still talking about being with men, and yet we're not together. So stop saying lording options, because it's facetious, it's disingenuous, and furthermore, it's simply untrue. It's a fucking lie. If the options were out there, there wouldn't be so many women unkept. Come on, man.
Expectations.
Yeah.
But what does that mean for the Black family?
I think it means a lot of things. I think, because we also are talking in a traditional sense of heterosexuality here, because there's so many more representations of what family looks
I'm talking about having kids, genius. That's the context.
like. The modern day woman gets to release herself from those constraints and gets to have a freedom around being a world builder. Everything is just not one way, black and white, but we still hold on to these traditions because that's what tradition
See,
is.
but you call them constraints,
right?
and then you also call them traditions.
Yeah, because to me, tradition does feel like constraints.
They can be.
Now look at this, right? This is what happens when you give people a microphone, right? I saw her on another clip. If you guys take a look, I'll make sure that video is tagged here, right? Her experiences. She says she was a thought in college. She says she had her whole phase, right? And she said it with a tone of regret. And then there was another woman there, right, who had promiscuity in her background. And we say, "Oh, you don't have to feel bad." She said, "Oh, no, I don't." She caught herself. She absolutely felt bad, right? And so now when you're not getting the results you want, you try to level the plane based on where you are. And then you notice my hand, where you are, right? You want to perpetuate the foolishness. But even furthermore, not only you perpetuate, you telling others to do what you did, knowing that you don't appreciate or like the results that you got. This projection from jaded people, and more specifically, these women here, is going to be the detriment, right? It's going to be the downfall, and we already slided. We already crabs in a barrel. Now you demonize traditionalism. This is crazy.
Constraining. I remember going down a rabbit hole on TikTok with white women talking about being trad wife. There's a trad wife side of TikTok where you have white women telling you that being a traditional wife is not what it's cracked up to be. Even to your point where you were like, well, what does that mean for the black family? The white family is breaking up too. I think sometimes it's just like, oh, this is a black problem. No, everybody is going through this. Like the white women are on TikTok losing their minds, telling us.
Let me reiterate this. The most married people have the most money, right? The white man and woman is not the top of the totem pole in their own country. They're not the top of the totem pole in their own country. But you know who is? The Asian man. And guess what he also is? The most married. And guess who he's married to? Mostly his women. Those women are married to their men. They not preaching this foolishness. Look at their divorce rates. And then even still, 20 percentage points is a whole lot. Let me ask you a question. If I owe you $100, can I give you 80? If the answer is no, white people are still married just above 50%. And we down there at 30%. The lowest of the low. The comparison doesn't help us either. We don't even need it to be shitty.
Marriage does not give women what it used to give women anymore. Yeah. Like, again, I'm saying this as someone who does want to be married. But even when I get married, I'm going to have a prenup. I'm going to have certain things in line for myself because I'm not marrying you to get out of anything.
So do you feel like at this present time, because you said kids, besides that, do you feel like you have it all?
Hell yeah, I have it all. I got a good wig. I got a good job.
I was gonna ask you.
I got a good job.
That's all you need.
My still works, like I got money in the bank. I have my own home. Like I have good health. To me, having the freedom to be who I want to be is having it all.
But I'm going to tell you this, and let me ask a question. When we get old and gray and decrepit, because I specialize in senior moving, and there's so many people in there who don't have anybody to lean on, nobody to call, no shoulder to cry on. I want to ask you this. What's more important, the plaque or the portrait on the wall? What's all those earnings worth when you have nobody to share it with? Marriage is not easy. The hardest thing I've ever done 100%. But you got to squeeze all that damn lemon juice out of that lemon and add sugar to it. When you give people a microphone that been hurt and have bad experience and can't see the forest through the trees, this is what happens. This is what perpetuated. This is what is being coached and taught, right? And you asking us to listen, and you teaching things that put us at a deficit, that leave us worse off than when we started. Before I hit play, I didn't even know that we were that far down. Turns out it's even farther than we think. And I do this professionally. Numbers 8:23-25. The preachers who are aged out sit back and only give wise counsel because they're also qualified to do so, but they no longer talking over the congregation. When you got people who have aged out, who don't actually have what they want, and then give up reasons and lie about the reasons why they don't care about it, we can't listen to them. They can't be given a microphone. It's not worth it. Let's think about it, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Be safe and do the right thing, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm out.